that, Bangladesh Prime Minister Sheikh Hasina has today resigned and fled the country as protesters were even seen storming her residential palace. And we're going to be showing you those visuals, what you're seeing on your right-hand side of this man on her bed. The protesters storming the palace, rejoicing, celebrating over the news that Bangladesh Prime Minister Sheikh Hasina has resigned and that she's left the country. The army chief, Wakir-uz-Zaman, has confirmed that the army will be taking over, adding that an interim government is going to be taking over power as well. But the army is now in clear control of the situation. The chief also saying that he's going to apprise the president of the present scenario. Protesters stormed her official residence as soon as the news came in that the prime minister has stepped down and that she has fled the country. In fact, the images that you're seeing shows hundreds of people getting into the building, storming their way through, ransacking and taking away, essential commodities as well. Siddhant is back with us. Siddhant, I wanted to understand from you how strong, how powerful is the army in Bangladesh, because for years together they've taken a less overt role in public affairs, choosing more often to exercise their influence from behind the scenes. But now that they're in control, how does the situation change from here on for the nation and for the people? Oh dear, we're just having a bit of an issue there with Siddhant's audio. We'll try and fix that. But what you're seeing on your screens are, the varying images coming in of jubilation, of celebration from the people of Bangladesh following the reports of their prime minister, who has ruled for 15 long years, finally stepping down, resigning and fleeing the nation. Now, she did make a brief stop here in India, in Agartala, but we're still waiting for a confirmation as to what is going to be her final destination. But big news coming in. There is no confirmation, no official confirmation at least, about Sheikh Hasina's whereabouts. This is all reports coming in, but she's the prime minister who has resigned, and she has already left Bangladesh's capital Dhaka on a helicopter. What we're also getting to know is that she's being accompanied by her sister, but this is unconfirmed report from various sources. So this is big news coming in amid the present turmoil. The army chief just addressed the nation a short while ago. He, in fact, has appealed for peace and calm. This is the army chief who you're seeing on the left-hand side of your screens. He said that the army will be taking control of the situation at least till the next course of action is decided. Siddhant, can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you.
Yeah, I wanted to ask you about the Bangladesh military and just how strong is Bangladesh's army. They've known to be staging coups in the past, but over the years, they've taken a very less overt role in public affairs. Will that change now?
Well, yes. In fact, some of the experts and geopolitical experts are telling us that Bangladesh has come a long way, and it would really be difficult for army, even if they control Bangladesh, if they take power, then they won't be able to sustain for a longer time because a dictatorship won't work in Bangladesh anymore. So that's the opinion that we're getting from experts. But right now we have a very, very interesting news piece. In fact, unconfirmed reports. One is that the chopper of Sheikh Hasina has landed in Tripura, and we have broken that story for our viewers. Now, in fact, we are getting to know that this Bangladesh Air Force flight is currently flying over Dhanbad. And it is in Indian airspace. So there is a lot of speculation because till now we have only received information that Sheikh Hasina has landed in Tripura. We don't have any image of photograph or a video of her getting down from chopper in Tripura, or don't know the exact location of her in India. So maybe the speculation is that she can come directly to New Delhi, and since this Bangladesh Air Force flight is flying over Dhanbad, then there's a lot of speculation that why this Air Force flight is in Indian flying space, Indian airspace. So a lot of speculations are doing the rounds. In fact, every moment we are trying to get in touch with the people sitting in Indian security setup to dig more about what is happening in Bangladesh and what's going to be the next location for Sheikh Hasina and what's going to be her next move. In fact, some reports are telling us that she may go to London. So that is also something which some section of media is talking about. So Belarus, Finland, London, Agartala, we have discussed many locations since last 40 to 45 minutes. But since situation, the developments are taking place with so much speed, so it gets very difficult to speak to people in Bangladesh, then corroborate it with the people here in the Indian security setup. But what has happened in Bangladesh is unprecedented, and nobody had ever expected this to happen so quickly, so sudden, because 100 people lost lives in last 24 hours in Bangladesh, and Sheikh Hasina decides to resign, army takes over, army promises interim government. Some unexpected scenarios have taken place in Bangladesh, and we were expecting that this time again the Hasina would manage to contain the protesters, but since it escalated, and it spread like a wildfire all across Bangladesh. More than 55 districts were affected. Police stations were
Okay, just stay on with me, Siddhant. Khurshid Wasim joins us now from Bangladesh. She's a senior journalist. Thank you so much for speaking to CNN News 18. We are tracking the developments very closely. What is the latest? We heard from your army chief, who has confirmed that the army will take over. Bangladesh will be now under army's control. But what's the latest? And also, if you have any information on Sheikh Hasina, where is she headed to?
We heard she is heading to India. First, she will go to Agartala, which is in West Bengal, and then she will move to Delhi. That's what we heard. We haven't seen her flight. We have got a news movie clip or small clip, which is around 15 to 18 seconds, which shows that she's getting out of helicopter or she is getting into the helicopter.
Yes.
So, but it's confirmed she left the country, and it's confirmed she's heading towards Delhi. So the army chief, who was had a brief speech only 30 minutes ago, he clearly says that he had a discussion with all the political parties apart from Arab League, and they had a discussion how the interim government will form. And after this interim government will form, and he confirmed that whatever will happen, there are around 200 plus people been killed or shot on sight or been murdered or died during the student protest, which was for the quota. If you understand quota, it is like a reserve system in the government job, which means if you are a freedom fighter, 20% or 50% of the total number of the people who are getting jobs will be reserved from those people. So that protest started in 2018, which somehow went up to till today. And they were given some resolution that this is what need to be, and stuff like that. But she was not listening to it. She was rather
yes.
She was very harsh, and as well as her home minister, her IGP of police, and other people. They were shooting, and her student leagues, the allies. They were harassing people. They were torturing people. They were physically abusing people, so which turned into a big mob,
right,
which started around early last month.
Okay.
And in the mid of the month, they say that okay, whatever is done now you ratify the law and you do it. But she ratified the law. By the time around 15 or 20 people died, which basically throughout the country made a huge mob that she is listening to the Gen Z generation. And these people, they were taken by some, I don't know, who are the people, you understand. And they were given back that, okay, they made some discussion, then they're about to close the deal, but which is not. So, yeah, that's how it is. And now today, the army chief came up.
Yes.
He clearly said he wouldn't do anything illegal.
Yes.
And his professional career says he's quite professional about his career, and he is quite a law-abiding person.
Oh, okay. That's an interesting point that you mentioned about the army chief of Bangladesh, that he's thorough professional and he's a law-abiding citizen. And that's something, in fact, he had been, that was very reflective in the statement that he made to his country, appealing for peace and calm, and also requesting the protesters to call off their protests. Mr. Hasib, just stay on with me. Former Foreign Secretary of India, Mr. Harsh Shringla, has also given his reaction on the present situation in Bangladesh. We'll just listen to him and come back to you.
To avoid further bloodshed, because it was clear that had the status quo remained, it would have resulted in significant uptake in the violence. Ultimately, it's in our interest to ensure that there is peace and stability in our neighboring countries. So, I think those developments, recent developments, have played out in a practical manner. And we will be engaged. And just answering last part of your question, I have no doubt that our interlocutors will be engaged with the concerned people in Bangladesh, and that we will ensure that our larger interests are protected, and that we will work constructively to ensure that there is peace and stability in Bangladesh.
Mr. Shringla, you also served as a foreign secretary. Under such circumstances, do you think now, as you said, that we are going to engage through our interlocutors or directly? So how easy will it be for India now? Because India has backed Sheikh Hasina, and we had a wonderful chemistry between the two democracies. We have seen de-radicalization. We have seen, people, terrorist organizations being called out there and caught and handed over to India. We have seen a massive drop in the smuggling. So how is now India going to cope with these factors, with the new establishment or the interim arrangement or the army coup, whatever you can say?
So, for us, it's very important to, be engaged with Bangladesh. We had a very, very good relationship with the government of Prime Minister Sheikh Hasina. There's been a huge amount of development, positive developments that have been possible under, her government. But at the end of the day, the relationship is based on a people-to-people contact. There's a strong people-to-people connect. We have strong ties across the board in a multifaceted manner in Bangladesh's society. And we will engage any political or any other organization that we need to in the furtherance of our larger interests and those of Bangladesh.
Sir, but I was reading some of the articles in the Bangladeshi press. They are saying that it is Sheikh Hasina's closeness with India and anti-India sentiments which has also contributed to the situation.
Well, I mean, there will always be people who will be inimical to our interests, and these are people who trace their, origin back to the time that they backed Pakistan in 1971, and their descendants continue to back, radical and fundamental interests in that country. I don't think we need to be concerned about that strain of thought. The average Bangladeshi knows that India has always acted in the best interest of Bangladesh. Whatever we have done in our mutual benefit of both our countries, and we will continue to do that. I mean, it's an exceptional relationship where I think India has assisted Bangladesh and Bangladesh has assisted India. And I think if the country is to progress and if we have to move forward, I think that relationship of mutual benefit, a relationship that seeks to cooperate constructively rather than to confront each other, I think will work in the best interest of the people of both our countries.
Mr. Shringla, my last question. Do you think Ms. Hasina will be given shelter in India, or she'll be staying here, or she'll be fleeing to some other country?
It's difficult for me to say. I mean, keep in mind that Sheikh Hasina was here right from 1975 till about 1979 or so, when she went back to her country after the assassination of Sheikh Mujibur Rahman, her father. So India never denied, safe haven or asylum to those.
দেশে একটা ক্রান্তিকাল চলছে। আমি সমস্ত রাজনৈতিক দলের নেতৃবৃন্দকে এখানে আমন্ত্রণ করেছিলাম। ওনারা এখানে এসেছেন। আমরা একটা সুন্দর আলোচনা করেছি। সেখানে আমরা সিদ্ধান্ত নিয়েছি যে একটা ইন্টারিম গভর্নমেন্ট আমরা ফর্ম করব এবং ইন্টারিম গভর্নমেন্টের মাধ্যমে এদেশের সমস্ত কার্যকলাপ চলবে এবং দেশে একটা শান্তি শৃঙ্খলা ফিরিয়ে নিয়ে আসব। আপনারা আমার সাথে সহযোগিতা করেন, দয়া করে আর এই ভাঙচুর, হত্যা, মারামারি, সংঘর্ষ এগুলো থেকে বিরত হন। মাননীয় প্রধানমন্ত্রীও পদত্যাগ করেছেন এবং এখন একটা ইন্টারিম গভর্নমেন্ট ফর্ম করে আমরা আমাদের কার্যক্রম পরিচালনা করব।
Okay, so that was the army chief who had spoken to the nation a short while back in the backdrop of fresh violence in Bangladesh and Sheikh Hasina's fleeing off the country after she resigned. So that's what the army chief has said, that now the army is going to be taking over. India, in fact, is also taking all precautions. The Border Security Force has issued a very high alert across the Indo-Bangladesh border in response to the ongoing developments in our neighboring country. The Ministry of External Affairs has also advised its citizens to avoid traveling to Bangladesh and has also sent out advice to those who are presently residing in Bangladesh to exercise extreme caution, restrict their movements, remain in contact with the High Commission in Dhaka. KP Fabian, former diplomat, joins us now on the broadcast. Sir, thanks so much for speaking to CNN News 18. Huge developments, fast-paced developments happening in Bangladesh with the Prime Minister finally stepping down after a long reign. What do you make of the present situation and Bangladesh now being under the army's control?
Well, the situation is serious, and while I personally do not believe that the army is taking over the control will sort of lead to the resolution of the crisis. You know, the roots of the crisis. After what are the roots of the crisis? One is that there is a general impression that the last general election was rigged. Two,
Yes.
there is unemployment for the youth. And in that context, a reservation was made for the children of those who fought in 1971. But next is corruption, very big. An impression that there is overall corruption, well, not necessarily with Sheikh Hasina herself, but her entourage, those who are, you know, and close to her. So this has to be, and my view is that now that the military has taken over, as soon as possible, there should be a proper election. As soon as possible, not tomorrow, as soon as possible.
So, do you foresee fresh elections happening? And what about the Awami League? Do you agree that the chaos that has unfolded in the country is largely because of Sheikh Hasina's own doing and the makings of the Awami League?
Yes, it is. You know, she was not at all popular, and you know that the opposition parties had boycotted the election.
Yes.
So the last election was not a proper election. Now we need a proper election where, I mean, like Sheikh Hasina's party also contest. You know, it will be wrong to disqualify her or her party. And but as I said, you know, you cannot be held tomorrow. We need a little time to cool things. You know what I mean. So let us hope that Bangladesh will, people and those who are in power, maturity to get out of the crisis rather than deepen it.
So why do you think, the situation has come down to this with the army taking over? Because Sheikh Hasina is someone who has been the longest serving female head of the government. I'm sure she's faced, so many challenges in the past as well. Her own father being executed and family members by the army in a military coup. She's someone who's known for her belligerence, for her defiance, not willing to step down without giving a fight. Why do you think that, things got out so bad for her that she was left with no other choice but to flee the country?
So, when Sheikh Hasina visited China, well, she didn't get what she wanted, and she cut short her visit and came. So in other words, probably the Chinese were keeping in touch with the ground realities, and they probably thought that she was on her way out.
All right, Mr. Fabian, thank you so much for your time. So that's the latest that we're getting in right now on the situation that prevails. There is still no confirmation as to where Sheikh Hasina is presently. Yes, she did make a brief stopover in India. According to unconfirmed reports, she's on her way to London. But we are still trying to get more information on that. Clearly, in the backdrop of fresh violence, the Awami League Supremo Sheikh Hasina finally putting in her papers, resigning as the Prime Minister of the country, according to the Bangladesh High Commission. And now, in a televised address to the nation, the Army Chief, Wakir-uz-Zaman, has said that the military will form the interim government. What you're seeing on the left-hand side of your screens is the Army Chief, who had just spoken to the nation a short while ago, appealing for peace, appealing for calm. And most interestingly, just after the announcement of her resignation, one could see so many people on the streets, lack of people pouring out on the streets of Dhaka as the news spread that their Prime Minister Sheikh Hasina has decided to step down, resign and flee the nation. In fact, people could be seen celebrating, rejoicing on the streets after the entire nation has seen weeks of bloodbath, turmoil and unrest across the country. So that's the latest. Sheikh Hasina has left Bangladesh. She has resigned. She's no longer the Prime Minister. No official word from the Awami League. So there's going to be a caretaker government under the control of the army. It's going to be led by the country's military, which is going to be taking over. The Army Chief of Bangladesh also confirming the same and saying that the president will be apprised as well. Indian security agencies are also monitoring the C-130 aircraft with the call signs since 10 kilometers from the Indian border with Bangladesh. It's heading towards Delhi. What we're getting to hear, it's believed that Sheikh Hasina and a few members of her entourage are on board that plane. So there is still no confirmation as to where exactly Sheikh Hasina is, but there are reports that she is headed to the national capital, given, the relationship that India has had with Bangladesh. It's been very cordial, it's been very peaceful. So the news is that her plane is headed to the national capital, to Delhi. Siddhant is with me for the very latest on this. Siddhant, over to you. Give us more details. A lot of reports coming in that she perhaps is on her way to London or she's headed to the national capital. What are you hearing from your sources?
Well, right now we can confirm this, that the people in the Indian security setup are monitoring C-130 aircraft of Bangladeshi Air Force. Right now flying in Indian airspace, and in fact, some are saying that this is a routine protocol. It will be whenever there's an airplane or a different plane of any other country flying in Indian airspace, the ATC usually monitors the movement of that plane. In fact, some are also saying that the government doesn't have any information regarding the person inside the aircraft, but it could be some sort of a strategy also. The plane has crossed West Bengal, has entered in the airspace of Dhanbad and is heading towards New Delhi. This is what we can tell our viewers. Right now, local authorities at Palam Airport at Delhi International Airport have no clue about any aircraft landing landing of any aircraft in New Delhi. There are also some reports telling us that she can likely go to London. So London could be her next destination, as it is not the policy of India to give any kind of asylum or protection to any person in exile or coming from the circumstances that Sheikh Hasina is coming from right now. So it would really be interesting to see at what is going to be the government of India's stand. We're still trying to pick the maximum we can from people in government who are monitoring the situation. Right now, we can confirm this for our viewers that Indian government have taken note of this aircraft, which belong to the Air Force of Bangladesh.
Okay, Siddhant, just kindly stay on with me. Senior journalist from Bangladesh, Mr. Hasib, is also joining us. Mr. Hasib, can you just tell us a little bit more about Sheikh Hasina? There are a lot of unconfirmed reports that she's going to be headed to India. She did make a brief stopover in India, but now she's headed to the national capital. There are also reports coming in that she perhaps is on her way finally to London, which is going to be her ultimate destination. What is the information that you have, and how are the people in Bangladesh